Hey everybody, it's Sean, and today I am at Saving Scales Reptile Rescue here in Michigan, and I'm going to talk about Argentine black and white tegus. Now, tegus are an awesome lizard that you may have heard about that come from South America, but unfortunately they're also an invasive species here in the United States, typically in Florida and now all the way up into Georgia. So, right here is my special friend, an Argentine black and white tegu. Now, these are the largest of all the species of tegu in the world. Females can get about 3.5 feet, while males can actually get 4 to 4.5 feet. They are highly intelligent. They can become housebroken, a lot like a cat. They can become station trained, so they know where to go to eat and where to sleep. They can also be target trained, so you can show them like a ball on a stick and they go up and touch it with their nose, and then you reward them with food. And they also can become very, very social. As you see, she's just laying on my my lap, liking to be pet. There's a couple things you have to watch out for with these guys, though. Wild ones can be very, very vicious. And even captive ones can be very vicious if they haven't been socialized. They have this very, very large, long tail and a lot of muscle here at the base of it. And when they get mad, they'll whip you with that tail, and it can bruise you pretty bad and even cut you open. They also have these very, very large jowls. That's their jaws. A lot of muscle in there, because these guys are what we call an opportunistic omnivore, meaning they'll eat pretty much anything that they can get their mouths on. Their favorite thing are to eat small rodents and birds, but also they'll eat seeds, nuts, and berries. They have very, very long claws. This will help them to dig out burrows and look for rodents underground. And they'll also eat carrion, or animals that are already dead. So they'll find carcasses and clean those up. Now, those big, strong jowls help them to tear apart things like those carrion that they find, or the small mammals that they like to hunt. Basically, once they grab onto something, they don't want to let go. Now, they have some amazing camouflage here. I love the black and white that's on them. But babies are actually emerald green from their head down to their back when they're born, and as they get older, that starts to disappear. They'll also typically have some yellow spotting along the tails that also disappears as they get older. Also, babies are typically a little bit striped, and as they get older, those stripes basically break apart and become low speckled patterns. So a lot of times you can tell that it's an older tegu by the fact that there's no real banding anymore. It's just little spots on them. Now, just like other reptiles, they have a lot of nerves that run through their head. So a lot of times getting them to calm down just means rubbing on the top of their head here. There's actually special scales up here that you can see on a lot of different reptiles that we call a pineal eye. It's a third eyeball that's no longer used anymore. That's why there tends to be a lot of nerve clusters up here on the top of the head, and that's usually why we can get these guys to calm down so well. If you ever look at hatchling lizards, especially on bearded dragons and leopard geckos, you can actually still see a circular dark dot right on the top of their head that over time scales grow over top of and can't see so well anymore. Now, as I mentioned, these guys are from South America, typically from Argentina, but they're also found in Paraguay. They're very adaptable. They live in forests, they live near swamps, they live near savannas. Basically, as long as there's water nearby, these guys will be there. This gives them a larger variety of food to hunt for. Now, this is also what's helped make them an invasive species in the United States, is the fact that they can adapt to so many different environments. And they breed pretty prolifically, which means they breed a lot and they're very successful at it. They can have upwards of 30 eggs per clutch, and we're finding that in the right conditions, they can actually have 2 clutches of eggs a year and be up to 90% successful on both those clutches. And being that they're an opportunistic omnivore, they always have food available for them. So we have to watch out for when we do have pets like this, that if for whatever reason you don't want that animal anymore, that you bring them to a proper place like Saving Scales Reptile Rescue so they can find a proper home for them. But a lot of times people like to release these out in the wild thinking that they'll just go away or that they'll die or something like that. And the unfortunate thing is under the right conditions, they'll actually survive very, very well. And that's why we have a problem in both Florida and Georgia with these guys. Here in Michigan, they wouldn't be able to survive the winters. Too bad for them. But as you can see, they also make pretty good pets. So here's a good look at our Argentine tegu friend. You can see she likes the camera. She's a good girl. And they can be, like I said, they can be cuddly. There we go. So, I hope you guys learned a little something about tegus, which happen to be one of my favorite lizards, and we'll see you next time.